Hey, welcome back to Coffee and Conversations.
Yeah, and today we're talking about a hot topic, sexual and emotional intimacy. So first I want to start off with, we did not even know that there was a completely another realm of intimacy that we were missing out on. We had no idea. We thought what our married life was like was normal and that everyone else was experiencing the same levels of sexual and emotional intimacy.
And it was going to be the best it was going to be during that time.
Exactly. We didn't know that it could be any better.
Yeah.
Until we learned this thing about our hearts. And so what we discovered is that when something happens between us, like you hurt my feelings or something of that nature, the heart automatically goes into survival, which means it closes. And it is an actual physiological thing that happens to our heart, where our heart closes off any more emotional connection with our mind and our body, which is so interesting to me. And for years and years and years, I had no idea that my heart was closed towards him. I wasn't really interested in specifically sexual intimacy, except for I felt like it's something that we need to do as a married couple, because I know it's a need that you have. And so it was more of an act, something we did, having sex versus experiencing love and sexual intimacy, which is a whole different world than what we lived in for 12 years. And so right now we are reading a book. You want to tell about that?
Yeah, it's called Divine Sex. I'll put that right in front of your face. Sorry.
Thanks.
It's called Divine Sex, Live Your Best Experience Now. And this is by our friends, Denisa and Jorge Suarez. And they're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And they specialize in sex therapy, and they do intensives for marriages. And they're just such a great couple. I encourage you to go check them out, give them some love, and order this book. It's really great. We're on chapter 8. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I'm on chapter 8, page 115. The correlation between personal satisfaction and the pleasure caused in your partner is proportional. The greater the pleasure you supply, the greater satisfaction you will receive. In other words, the more you focus on satisfying your partner, and the nearer you remain in the emotional and spiritual, the greater your satisfaction will be.
So I just want to say something about our hearts. So when my heart is open is when I am feeling connected to you, right? And what I didn't know was that in order for my heart to be whole and complete, God is my source. He is my fulfiller. He fulfills me, makes me whole and complete so that I can show up in a marriage whole and complete.
That's right.
When we're incomplete is when we have some dysfunctions that happen in a married couple, specifically sexually, I believe. And so what this is really pointing to is that when we are out to give rather than receive, I will actually receive more pleasure by giving rather than receiving. And I believe that is absolutely true. When my heart is connected with God, it is automatically connected to you. And then I take it another level by pleasing you first or just in general. And it gives me a better satisfaction.
It reminds me of what Ted Cunningham says, that sex is dirty and nasty and should be saved for the person you love and gonna marry. And that thought comes up for me sometimes.
Yeah. Did you get that too? Because that's what I got growing up.
Right. That,
dirty and nasty and should be saved for the one you love and marriage.
Yeah. And so just in I just wanted to throw that out there because it could be a conversation like, I can't believe they're talking about that. That's something that should be reserved and not talked about. And I think that could be the reason that we have so much dysfunction in marriages around the same topic, is because it is not talked about. And there could be so much more satisfaction if we talked about the heart and the connection that it has to an intimate relationship. What has to happen for us to have intimacy is there needs to be safety first. What does that look like? It means my ego has to go out the door. Your ego has to go out the door. And we have to create a safe place to share, a safe place to have conversation. And once that is there, once there's a safety, we can have openness. That's where you and I have the freedom to be transparent and open and talk to each other. And when you have safety, when you have openness, you have intimacy. It equals intimacy. That doesn't necessarily mean sexual relations. That means an intimacy where we're able to communicate on a level that is deep and rich in a marriage.
It's where both of our hearts are open, facing towards each other.
Yeah. What usually happens, and what happened for us is what Adele said, is there's a wall put up. A wall that we all put up because we don't want to be hurt again. We were hurt in our past. And we build these walls like, I know you want what's best for me, but I'm going to keep this here and just kind of wait and see. I'm going to keep this wall up and maybe anticipate you're going to hurt me. And I'm going to look for that hurt. And that does nothing to serve our marriage.
And if I could put that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best sexual intimacy you've ever had and 1 being the worst, I would say we were experiencing a 3 and didn't know it could be any better. And so that's what we really go into in our online marriage course. It's 9 weeks, and the last session is all about hot sex, which has so much detail in how to really experience that as a couple, because there is a whole world of it that maybe you don't have access to because your heart is closed.
Yeah. Has everything to do with opening our heart and having that authentic conversation, open conversation with each other.
Yeah,
that lowers walls.
And then second is being out to give to you, which ultimately makes me receive a better satisfaction and pleasure along the way. Which is so cool how God designed it that way. I mean, he designed it for married couples to be connected emotionally, physically, and spiritually, which is a try thing. And when you're missing one of those, when you're missing that spiritual connection together, you don't have access to the type of intimacy that we're talking about. It's so important that I have that vertical connection as much as I have that horizontal connection.
That is good. And you brought up a great point. God designed it.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's a genius.
And it's meant to be in marriage between a husband and a wife only. You know, he designed it, and he designed it amazingly. And that's the context that he designed it in. Otherwise, it's still possible to have relations, and it's only going to be limited.
Yep. Anytime it's outside of a marriage, you just don't have access to what we're talking about because God didn't design it that way. And that's coming from 2 people and a past that we messed up and made a lot of mistakes in. And now we can really see why God designed it the way he did, because we brought all that to our marriage.
Yep.
And while we thought it was in our past and it wouldn't affect us, it absolutely was creating these walls that we weren't aware of.
Good point.
Yeah. So definitely check out our online course if this is something that you're interested in seeking more about, how to open your heart towards your spouse. That is where you want to go. So go check it out on our website. It's on pre-order right now, and we're in the process of re-videoing it right now.
Yes.
And so be sure and check that out.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, if you're new to our channel, come check out this video to find out more about who we are and what we're up to.
Yeah, and we would love for you to join our tribe. So go ahead and click that subscribe button.